Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here. This is meteorologist Mike Griffith for East Coast Weather Authority. It is just about coming up on 10 p.m. here on Sunday evening, the 29th of April. Just getting ready to finish out the month of April here because Monday, the 30th, is the last day. If you know the whole riddle, 30 days is one of the ones that has April as a month and not 31. So we're going to be heading into May here before you know it. And it does not feel like it's going to be heading into May, at least as we wake up on the last day of April, which is Monday morning. Here's the cold, chilly air, which is going to have some frost and freeze advisories west of Interstate 95 here as we go into early Monday morning. Some chilly air here. You're going to need some coats, maybe some light jackets as you head out in the morning on Monday. And then that colder air kind of lifts out pretty quickly. Now we're into Tuesday here, so much more seasonable across North Carolina. Maybe some chillier air left in Florida there, maybe in the form of some just cooler air temperatures overall altogether. But then look at this. Once we head into Wednesday this week, we're looking at a warm-up, especially across southeastern Canada, including Toronto, the province of Ontario, much of New England, Montreal, Philadelphia, and Richmond and D.C., the nation's capital. And we're looking at a pretty decent warm-up continuing to hold trend into Wednesday this week. Now, this warm-up is going to be focused across much of the northeastern United States, and Florida is going to only remain maybe slightly above normal, more like seasonable there for much of the southeast as we go into Wednesday and Thursday this week. For Southern California and the Baja of Mexico, looking like much below normal temperatures out there. So they're going to be chilly, as well as up in Greenland here, at least the southern tip of Greenland anyway, is going to remain in the chilly area. Alaska not looking too warm either heading into later this week. Now, as we go into Friday morning, looks like we could have a real taste of summer here, as a heat wave is going to hold shape across much of New England and Richmond and up into D.C., Philly, up into New York City, and then to Massachusetts and to Boston there, looking like it's going to be a really, really borderline hot Friday for you. And that heat holds shape all the way into this Friday or so, and it's not looking like it's going to go much of anywhere. And now that heat starts to lift out a little bit on May 7th, and it looks like it's going to be in the form of a cold front that's going to kind of move through the eastern United States here, and it could push this way. Of course, all cold fronts do, but that means it's going to be chillier air, and there could be a severe outbreak heading into this weekend at the earliest and Monday at the latest. And looking like the severe weather outbreak could be all the way from the mid-Atlantic into the southeast, and that's where we might have to watch for some severe thunderstorms, especially as the air masses change hands here, and we go back to pretty much seasonable. But look at this pool of cooler air over the Hudson Bay, and this is around the 7th or so. NOAA CPC is actually calling for below normal temperatures from the 7th to the 13th for much of the East Coast. And this is the ensembles right here, and I kind of agree with this because it looks like much of this pool of cooler air across eastern Canada is going to be readily available to tap into for chilly air outbreaks across the southeast into the 8th or 9th or so of May. And it's looking like Alaska, Western Canada up there, really almost like summertime temperatures up there. Western United States is going to bake. I wouldn't be surprised to see some 100-degree readings in Death Valley and also in the Phoenix, Arizona there. They're going to spike 100 again probably as we go into the 7th, between the 7th and 10th of May or so. Still below normal temperatures here into the 10th or so. The Euro was pretty good. It's sniffing out this below normal trend for much of the early to mid-May, and it looks like that's going to hold shape pretty much all the way through the 13th at least. And no signs of heat here in the United States, in the eastern part of the United States. It's all going to be out west. They're going to have it, especially in Vancouver and all the way up into British Columbia and also up into the Yukon territory. Much above normal temperatures up there. It's going to feel like summer for them, and that's pretty extraordinary given that it's only May. And we're going to be really seasonable here in the eastern part of the United States. Let's take a look around the globe. If you're going on vacation, this could be some useful information for you. It could be some stuff to watch here with overall global trends. This is the total precipitation anomalies as we are heading into the beginning of May and also into the first week of May or so. It looks like Hawaii is still going to remain wet and miserable there. They're not going to really be able to escape the rain, given that there's a high pressure system, a cell of high pressure over the water right here, and this rotation around the high is going to be clockwise. But it's going to be what we call a dirty ridge of high pressure, and it's going to include rain on the edge of it, on the fringe, and that's going to be right over Hawaii. So that's going to be kind of annoying if you want to go on vacation there. Also, over much of eastern China, eastern Asia, all the way into the Philippines and Taiwan, looking like above normal rainfall for over here too, so it's going to be wet. Looking like Australia is going to be on the dry side. Not a whole lot to worry about there. But if you are heading down to Panama and Costa Rica, looking like you're going to be wet down there, and rainy season down there as well, and also into northern South America, as this stream of moisture is coming off of Africa and it's heading west right into South America there, and looks like it's going to be wet and not too pleasant. Also, Iceland up here, wet, and this is all the way from the beginning. This is total precipitation from the beginning of May into the middle of May or so. So here we go, and these trends really tend to increase as we go forward into the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, even 15th of May. Really, really, really wet here, especially across northern South America and Costa Rica and Panama. Looking like really wet conditions there. Also, Cuba, they're going to be really wet too, so if you're going to go there, not the best conditions for you. Looking like Britain and New England, or England here in the UK, is not going to be overly saturated, but don't expect a totally dry period of time either. Down into Middle Africa, also very rainy here, just off the northern coast of Madagascar and into Zimbabwe. It looks like it's going to be really wet and kind of rainy over there as well. Middle East, to be expected, not a whole lot of rain going on here. We're looking at Europe and the Mediterranean, maybe along the southern portions of the Mediterranean, Spain, into the Baltic Sea or so. Looking like wet and rainy, especially into the 7th and 15th of May, so don't expect to be too dry there either. And let's take a look at some overall global patterns here let's take a look at the northern hemisphere as far as height anomalies go, and we can see what's going to happen in the overall pattern for much of the world here as we go into the middle of May. So here we go into the 6th or 7th or so, and we're looking at this cold pour of air and also lower pressure here, lower heights, trying to trough its way into the eastern United States through here. So it's going to remain chillier and cooler than average into much of the beginning of May, maybe the 7th or so, into mid-May, like the 13th or so. Around then, 6th into the 13th is the beginning of the cool spell here. But then looking over Europe, it looks like they're going to be warm into the 10th or so here, especially France, Italy, Spain, and they're going to be a little bit warm. Also there into Asia and China and eastern Russia and Siberia, looking like they're going to be warm also into the 10th or so. And these regions here across China and Asia and Europe are going to be warm also into the 13th and 14th or so, into the middle of this month. That's what I have for you right now for the long range and also the global outlook. I am meteorologist Mike Griffith for East Coast Weather Authority. Please make sure that you subscribe to this channel by clicking the button down to the just below and to the right of this video here on YouTube. Thanks a lot for watching, and check back as we will have updates. Thank you.